Welcome back to Daybreak Live, final half hour of Daybreak for the final work day week. And here it is, the 16th day of June. We're going down the hill now, getting to Father's Day Sunday. And Ashton Fowler, President of Sylacauga City Council, joins us. And happy Father's Day to you, Ashton.
Thank you, sir.
Hope you're doing well today.
I am.
Talk a little bit about, of course, you being the president of the council, or know the ins and outs of the operations of our city, and big meeting yesterday. And where are we, first of all, on the building of a new pool, of a new recreation center? I know that was part of the topic of conversation at the meeting yesterday.
Right. So Chamberlain King came back into town, who we hired to create this master recreational plan that I'm sure everybody's seen. It was shared on Facebook. And a lot of confusion lies around that because they are an engineering and architectural firm as well. But we didn't hire them for those services. We hired them to create this master plan, and a lot of people confused the two. So they were thinking we're going to get a 3D rendering of what's to come to build and the inside and what furniture's in there and stuff like that, but that's not the case. What they did was kind of the final piece yesterday, and they're done. And that was give us the economic study and the economic impact of what building this would provide to the city. And so yesterday's meeting was about that mainly, is why they came back in. They went over everything they've gone over before, the current inventory of recreational facilities.
There wasn't a lot of surprises, was there?
No, sir. The only thing we were needing for them to be done was that final piece of the economic study. They gave us the pre-construction study while construction's going on and you have the contractors in town, what that's going to put into the economy. And then they gave us the rest, which is the after it's up and running economic feasibility study, how much goes into the city while it's running and operating on an everyday basis.
Now, when were they initially hired?
Oh man, this was sometime in 21, I believe, late 21 when they started. So it's been a while, and you know, they had a third party come in and do this economic study, and they were having hard times getting them to receive the information from them. So they finally received it, and they're done. So now we have what we need to go off of as a council, and we get with the planning commission and okay the site and go forward with, you know, funding it. So.
Some people might ask, how much money have we paid this group of people so far?
It was a substantial amount to hire them in to do this. Now, I couldn't quote you an exact amount, but I wouldn't shy away from close to 60 to 80 grand.
Okay.
You know, something along those lines. But, you know, for us, say we don't hire them and people say it's wasted money. Well, it really isn't, because how do you say take all that they did and all the public information, that input that they say we want this, that, and the other? Well, we can't put that into an idea, a plan. You know, we have to have a professional service do that, and they did exactly that.
So what do we do next?
Well, now we go in and hire well, first we okay the funding. We have to secure the funding, and that's the plan. He had phase one, which includes the site work and dirt work and such, and intersection improvements right there on 21 where the site should be.
Now, we're talking about this site. What site are we talking about?
On 21, directly across from Albia Steer State Farm, right there on the corner would be the site, and it runs up that hill all the way down to the field behind the Chevron right there. So that's not phase one, but that's the whole master plan area. So phase one would just be the aquatic center building with the rec center all tied in together, you know, classrooms and swimming pools and such, indoor and outdoor pool, pickleball, basketball courts, and parking and such.
Another question would be, how much is this going to cost, Ashton?
Right, so the estimated phase one implementation, they have estimated at $33 million. Now that would...
it's not bad if you say it fast.
Yeah, I know, right? You know, if you don't give them time to think about it, but that is a lot of money. And, you know, we would, of course, not just get 33 because it's so the economy the way it is and the market the way it is, we would get about 35 or so to have buffer space, so to speak. But that's why we do all these steps. While Chambliss and King is doing their master plan, we have, as a council, put in this implementation of passing the tax increase and putting the earmarks in place, which includes over $1 million in paying back city debt. So this is a way that we can go get the things we need, and the big ticket items like paving and this master plan for recreation, we have to take bonds out on, and this gives us in turn a way to pay them off quicker.
I don't know if you can read anything into the picture there. Can you explain any of that?
Yes, so that's the whole phase, the whole plan, 1, 2, and 3 phases. Phase 1 that we would initially do right now would be that northeast corner. You see the square brown building on the right side there. That's the recreation center / aquatic center with indoor pool, kind of a workout area, offices, everything.
All right,
and
where's 21?
21 would be just southeast of that, right there.
All right.
In the turn where you have Albia Steers on the other side there. So that whole area right there is pretty much from phase 1 up to the north is the mountain, the hill there. So, and it ties in to the backside of the current Donald Comer complex back there. So we would only focus with that rec center in the northeast, the indoor-outdoor pool, and then above that would be the pickleball and basketball courts. And that would be phase 1 there with the road work initiated in there.
Some people might say, is this doable?
It is. We've had, people ask that from a dirt works and site work perspective. It very much is doable. We've had the studies done, and the way you move the dirt is going to be challenging, but of course it's been proven that it can be done first before we even thought about the site.
So phase 1, what is phase 2?
Phase 2 would include further, if you could put that back on the screen, it included further amphitheater right there in the middle going west, and you have down south would be a big open green space because there is a floodplain in that area. So we didn't want to put too much infrastructure there. So there's what would be any kind of green space activity for a football game, soccer game, even a very big dog park, and then up the west side to finish it out would be a championship field in the west corner there, and football, or you could put a baseball diamond in there sideways. And the amphitheater there, we shrunk it down. Initially it was like 10,000 seating, so we shrunk it down to about 3,500 seating amphitheater area to take advantage of that hilltop and pavilions and such.
What can we bring in to justify the amphitheater, for instance?
I mean, any concert you could think of to go along with state, regional, area tournaments of swimming, of pickleball, because it's one of the fastest growing sports in the world right now, and basketball. We have any sport the rec offers for kids, we can now host the biggest of the big tournaments. Just like Sand Mountain area had just finished their very large complex, nothing compared to what we're trying to do. It's 10 times bigger, but Chambliss and King initiated that as well, so that's why we're familiar. And I've gone up there and played before. It's a beautiful site, and they host adult sports that make a revenue
a lot
stream.
Of money too.
Absolutely. So the revenue stream would go right back into Parks and Rec and help all their programs run year round.
Yeah. When are we looking to start seeing something done, moving dirt and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we have the budget process, isn't it? Budget season is in now, and we've started a couple of months earlier to get everything straight, because years past, you're supposed to have the budget passed October 1 and go into the new fiscal year, and we haven't done a good job of that as a council. So now we've started the process earlier. So once we get these numbers solidified, and hopefully even before sometime in September, have this meeting and have our new budget to go off of the 24 fiscal year, then we reach out, go to the bond market, get our money, and it's just a fact of getting with our financial people to make the call, get that money secured, and we can start bidding out.
That's all well and good. And then there's a large group of people who would say, well, we want a swimming pool.
Sure.
We want a swimming pool before 5 years from now. How, we go back to the swimming pool. I know they had a gathering over there the other day, and I wasn't there, but it looked to be 50, 60 people or so. Seemed to be more people than that interested in doing something with this pool until we can get something else done. What are your thoughts on that?
Right, and just to hit off that too, we have a lot of complaints saying, well, the pool is holding water. You said it's shut down because it doesn't hold water. Well, the pool is a covered hole in the ground. It's going to hold water. It's the fact of when we run it to operate it, the water running through the pipes, the filters and all that, the guts of the system is what's messed up. That's where the leakage occurs. That's where the problems occur when you have those pieces of equipment up and running. So to say, well, it's holding water, we should just work with this pool is false, because when we cut it on to filtrate everything, that's where the problems lie. And we also did a lot of work there for each swim season beforehand to get the pool ready, and then it would be in worse shape after the swim season. And so this last time we did that work to fix liners and pipes and things, but we didn't open it back up. So it hasn't had that initial swim season beat down, so to speak, to mess it back up. But anyways, that is a LWCF facility that was paid for by those monies, so it has to stay something recreational. And talking with the state, and another thing, ADECA, the ones who look over these things, have signed or have sent a resolution or ordinance, whatever you want to call it, to the city, stating that the pool is inhabitable and should not be continued, signed by the mayor the next month after. This was this was 2020, maybe 21, January 21, something like that. Or it's probably 2020 that it was signed. So it's legally on documents that it's inhabitable and signed by the city. So that goes out the window. We're worried about replacing it with something, and that you look at the master plan and you don't want to duplicate stuff that's going on up the road.
So just for layman's terms, so that pool as we know it now is no more.
Correct.
And there's no way that pool can be repaired enough to allow families to swim until we get whatever it is we're going to get done later.
Correct. It would make 0 sense to fight the litigation to have ADECA overturn that form and also the ruling, and also put $1 million into something that we're going to have up the road brand new. And you look, the way you look at it, it's a 30-year-old pool. It's time to replace it. And I understand the problem lies within the patience of the people not having a pool. I understand that. They would probably be fine if we went in and replaced it in 6 months and had one, and only had the pool shut down 6 months. But it's been a few years. And I understand the anger and being upset with us, I do. But I'm willing to take that for the betterment of the city to see in the future when this master plan comes to fruition.
So for those people who, you see some of them right there, and they're intelligent people, they have been involved in our city, lived here all of their lives, and they want something that is just not going to happen.
Yes, and it's, again, I've told people time and time again, I don't do the Facebook back and forth and the argumentation on social media, but I do see things that, well, I've been there before, I was a lifeguard, this, that, and the other, but we talk to the experts that run the pool, have ran the pool years and years and years in the past, and I'm not talking about managing it, I'm talking about working on it, help set it up or fix the problems in the past, and every single person has stated this pool has a lot of problems that will just reoccur unless you dig it all the way up and move it. So you look back at Sylacauga history, and about every 30 years, we have had a pool that has gone down and we've moved it elsewhere. So it's time.
We talked about, and you and I talked about it on this show, it's been 2 or 3 years ago now, I guess, 2 years ago, we talked about a splash pad going. at that location. What is going to happen right there?
So, of course, we have splash pads on the new master plan up north of that area. So, talking with the state, we've reached out and just had some discussions. And, of course, your idea has to be approved because, again, it's a LWCF funded area. So the state basically gave us two options stating that the easiest thing to put there that would help, that would be approved the quickest, would either be basketball courts or a skate park. For some reason, that was their two things that, you know.
Where the pool is now.
Right. That's
Okay.
the two things that get approved the easiest and would be also the easiest to implementate. So that's what we're looking at now. Of course, we want to get this up and running with the master plan. And then, in a sense, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier than the other options would be to filling in that area, putting courts or a skate park over that.
The first segment was, what, $33 million, was it?
Yes.
All right. Overall, when complete, what is the ticket item on this?
Let's see, 33. I think the second phase was 14. So you're looking, 47, over 50 million, because there was 4 phases in all, and it got confusing because there was 1 and 1A, 2 and 2A. I just call it phase 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
But you're looking at around 50 million.
Now, my budget couldn't handle that.
No, sir.
So how are we going to do this?
And again, that's the whole point of creating a master plan. Just like years ago, the city created a comprehensive plan for its city and its inner workings and the totem pole of all workings of the city to have available when the time comes that we want to change something, do something. We just pull that document off the shelf and it's right there ready to go. Numbers will change, but the idea remains the same, and we just go from there, hire an architect and say this is what we want. So that's not to say we're going to do phase 1, 2, 3, and 4 back to back to back, because we're not. We're looking at phase 1. We have to get a pool in and get the infrastructure, roadways and such in there first. So that's second phase may not be 5, 10 years down the road, but we have to get that first phase in going. So.
All right, for people who are every day asking me, and I know they're asking you more than me, when are we going to have a pool?
So once dirt's moving, the initial construction time frame is looking to be 14 to 16 months on that. So as quick as we can pass budgets and look at going to the bond market, we have a financial guy that does that for us, and we just secure the money and bid out the services. We can do the architectural services while we're doing everything else, but as far as bidding out for contractors and such.
We look at 25?
In 2025, that could be very possible.
Okay.
Yes, if we got the bid going early 24, January, February, get started sometime in April, May, March, somewhere around in that area. Yes, that's very feasible for a 2025 completion of that. So.
What do you say to people, Ashton, who say, I don't buy that.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe that.
I've heard it. I've heard it a lot. And I don't blame them, because we've told them it's coming for so long, and they have had there hasn't even been any dirt worker movement anywhere. So I understand that, and the frustration. I would be frustrated too if I were on the outside, not knowing, like, hey, they're not even paying us attention, and especially from the people that utilize the pool. So I can say I understand, and I can't say anything that they'll believe or take with them right now, because I've said so much.
That can be frustrating to you too.
Right. It makes me look as a bad guy, but going into this business, I understand that takes place. So I'm willing to take that rap for now in order to hunker down and show them that, here's the fruition, and I promised you this, and we'll deliver.
Ashton Fowler, President of Sylacauga City Council. And Ashton, thank you for coming by and explaining, sharing with the viewership about what's going on in our city with our pool and aquatic center, our recreation center, and when all this is said and done, I guess we can look back and say, well, it's a job well done, but between now and then, there's a lot of weeping and gnashing of teeth, I guess. But
It is, but I'm willing to take it. You know, that's what I signed up for. So we'll get it done and be better on the back end.
All right, man. Appreciate you coming by this
Thank you.
morning. Ashton Fowler, President, Sylacauga City Council, our guest this morning. More Daybreak right after you take a look at this.